Hello, fellow nerds, and welcome to our Nerdiest Thing. Today, we have a very special guest, Taylor Ash. She is a self-described classical composer gone rogue. She is the owner and creator of From Ash Studios and an award-winning instrumentalist, composer, and songwriter. She holds degrees in music theory, composition, and performance from Westminster Choir College and has worked alongside the Philadelphia Symphony Orchestra and the Vienna Philharmonic. She has written, performed, and released her own EPs as well as themes for beloved Booktok classics such as Akatar and From Blood and Ash, and has composed original themes for podcasts such as Our Nerdiest Thing. Welcome to the podcast, Taylor. Thank you.
Yay! Thanks for having me. Yeah, you guys made me sound so cool in that intro.
You are so cool.
Thank you for having me. I'm pumped to be here.
Awesome. Mindy, do you want to get us started?
I was going to say, should we just get started?
Heck yeah.
So just start off by telling us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, I mean, you guys covered a lot of that. But yeah, I just actually very recently got into this more like film. I went to school for composition. That was like my major, I guess, is music theory and composition. But I kind of like took a break from it after college. I was kind of sick of it and the classical music world. And only in the past like year, 2 years have gone back into like film scoring and that kind of world, and just kind of stumbled into Booktok in this really crazy way by composing for books. And yeah, so I love Booktok and Bookstagram and everybody who's part of this community, because it's been such a wild ride as a musician to just see how much love we have for these amazing works of art that we get to read and fantasize in. And so it's been a really fun journey to kind of write for that kind of stuff. So
what was the first book that you did that you composed for?
I want to say it was Akatar. I think that was the one. I was like, and the thought in my head was like, oh, I know Hulu's making a show. So like, let me try my hand at making a theme song for like said show, and it just like took off. And I saw that there was like a lot of interest in that. And I love writing it. So I was like, let me keep going, and here we are.
Is that one of your favorite books?
Yes, definitely. Okay. It was, I think, one of the first, because I had taken such a long break from reading too. Like I was so busy after college and doing a lot of stuff, I had stopped reading and got back in to like the fantasy world with Akatar, and I did not know what I was getting myself into. I had no idea, literally none. And now I'm like, I don't think I've read a non-fantasy book in like 2 years, like a long time, because I've just been down this rabbit hole.
Yeah. So we have a friend in our book club that kind of forces us not to read fantasy sometimes.
Yeah.
The last time I picked a non-fantasy book for book club, everyone hated it. Where I could have given them a fantasy book they would have loved, right?
I know.
So I know what you're getting into, but yeah, it's I love world building, and I'm assuming that's probably why you like it too, because it's a lot like composing.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and figuring out the rules in that world and making it come to life is really, really exciting. And so it makes sense that you like to compose for that too.
Oh, for sure. And I think there's this sense of like escapism with it too, which I think all desperately needed since 2020. So, like that I think was a big thing for me too. And when things feel too much like the real world, I'm like, no, I live here. I don't need to be here right now.
Is that when you really started composing work like this was in 2020?
Yeah, I want to say, I think it was 2021. Like, I feel like that's where that, it's hard to pinpoint, I think, but that's when, I was working on my album, my singer-songwriter album, and I started composing kind of transition tracks, which were very film score based for that. So that was probably 2020, actually. So yeah, right around there.
Yeah, awesome. That's great that you had that to get you through that.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely music is a different form of escapism, but it's the best. Yeah.
So with your themes for these books, and some of your themes are for the overall book and some of them are specific scenes. So for like The Wolf in the Wood and Cal and May, how do you go about getting even started? Like, how many times do you read those scenes? How much do you think about it? How much trial and error goes into that?
I think like when I pick a scene, like I'll have to reread it because sometimes my memory plays tricks on me and I think different things happened in the scene. So I always do reread the scene just so I'm like, okay, this is actually what happened. I didn't just make this up or blend it with a different part of the book. Yeah. So a lot of it, like Kalanmai was like, it was practically written out for me, the format of it. Like if you like, I did like a TikTok on the breakdown of it and like read some of the parts of the book. Like there's a drum beat that's like single with like and it's far off in the distance. And I was like, okay, so we got something. But coming up with the actual like the guts of the piece, I typically just like make a playlist. And I kind of just like I listen to a lot of, you know what, Kalanmai was actually based off of the Bear McCreary Outlander. Dance of the Druids. Dance of the Druids. I listened to that over and over again. And so like you'll definitely hear some of that kind of vibe in there. And so like I'll do that and I'll listen to a bunch of things that remind me of the vibe of it and then kind of base the instrumentation or the arrangement off of that. But sometimes they just kind of come up with a melody. Like Blood and Ash, I kind of had this little piano riff and just built it off, thought it fit well with the mood and built it off of that.
Yeah, I love your overall themes because I used to teach high school English and I've told them before, I always wanted to play music, like an instrumental piece and have my students be able to like write a story to go along with it. And so
that would be cool.
But like the opposite way, right?
Yeah, that's really cool.
Piece, but you're writing the music to it. So I'm like super into that. But I listen to this, your songs are all on my Whitney's playlist on our family's Amazon Music. And I love how I can picture different like images of these different books. Like I was just listening to the From Blood and Ash on my drive over here. And I'm like, I can see Poppy walking down the hall. I can see, Hawk making out with her under the willow tree. Like I can see all these pieces happening in the song. So I love it.
Yeah. I think you need to fess up to Taylor though and tell her what other music sometimes her work might segue into on said playlist.
Yeah, I've got you and Eminem and Miley Cyrus.
Got it. We love it.
And the Twilight soundtrack.
The Twilight soundtrack. Yeah. Twilight.
You know what? Don't knock it. It's good.
No, I love the Twilight.
That's hilarious. I love that. I love that I'm mixed in. Like I love Miley Cyrus. I love Eminem. So like that's funny. And it's if you look at like my artist radio, it's very different from that. So it's kind of cool to be intermingled with like some different kind of vibes. That's cool. I love that. That's awesome.
Are we moving on to okay. So what do you, when you're not creating music, which by the way is so fascinating to me, my dad was a musician and it skipped a generation, and so my son's really talented at music, but I got none of that. So I was a theater major, so I just went with it.
That's awesome though.
But when you're not composing music, what do you like to do with your spare time? Do you have any other hobbies? Do you have anything that you really enjoy doing? I know, of course, reading.
Yes, obviously reading. I actually used to be a personal trainer, so I really like exercise. Like I actually used to teach kickboxing.
That's awesome.
That's it. That kind of brings out the Valkyrie in me a little bit. That's fun. I feel kind of like a badass when I do that. So I have a boxing bag in the basement, so I do that. And I am a teacher as well. I teach private after school music as composing is my day job, and I work with clients to create things. And then in the afternoons, evenings, I teach. So it's kind of another passion of mine is, teaching kids how to, be musicians. And so I always love hearing about kids who are passionate about music, and it's really exciting. I like hiking too with my dog, my husband. Unfortunately, my cat does not like to hike. She likes to stay here, but we would bring her if she would come. But see what else? I think I like to macrame too. That's another little hobby I have. Cool. My old studio, I had this big macrame lamp in the back, but that stayed upstairs, unfortunately, when I moved my studio down here. But
macrame.
It's super fun and easy.
All kinds of crafts. I love cross stitch. I scrapbook. I do all kinds of stuff like that.
Yeah.
But that's one that I haven't.
You like macrame?
I think I would.
It's easy and like it's like relatively affordable. Like, you know, I think to just like get supplies, you can make keychains and coasters, and that was another 2020 project of mine. So.
I just cleaned out my scrapbook room, so maybe I'll
yeah,
a few materials and
add a
start.
macrame corner.
Yeah, add a little macrame corner.
Yeah.
So that's so funny, Taylor, because normally music people are not also active people. So you're kind of this anomaly, I think, in the music world, probably.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that journey was a funny one for sure.
Yeah. Well, tell us about it. How did you switch from personal to music?
So I graduated college in 2015, but in 2014, I had this really weird like medical journey. I call it a journey because it was over the course of like a year essentially. But basically my arm like blew up to twice the size and it was stuck in like a claw position like this.
Oh, wow.
And they could not figure out what it was. Basically, I have an autoimmune disorder. It's called dermatomyositis. It's like it affects your muscles and your skin. It's kind of like a lupus's cousin is like a good way to think about it. So I was put on all these medications, and these medications, one of them was like essentially like a chemotherapy drug, and it gave me really bad acid reflux, and then that in turn like burned my vocal folds. So I was a singer and I couldn't sing for like 2 years. Like I could barely speak.
Oh gosh,
like
I'm so sorry.
Yeah. So I like kind of had to like, after I graduated, like I kind of like crawled my way out of college. I graduated and I like was like, oh crap, what do I do now? So I think at that time I had met my boyfriend at the time, but soon to be like husband in the future. And he's like very athletic. He was in the Coast Guard. He's extremely athletic. And he kind of inspired me to like, take control of my health a little bit because, you know, I had all this stuff going on. And I was like, you know what, like I have found myself becoming very passionate about it. And so I went and I got my certification in personal training. And yeah, so I did that journey for a couple of years. My voice did heal. And I actually have been in like, they call it like remission phase, but it's kind of like all but disappeared for like the past like 7 years. So like I have not been on medication for it at all. So it's been, I don't know if I can blame that or like thank exercise or anything for that, but like definitely it could have helped, you know. So
that's a really cool story.
Yeah. And so then I got back into music after we had moved from where he was stationed. He got out of the Coast Guard and we moved back down here to Westchester, PA. And yeah, I got back into music and teaching, and now everything's snowballing back again, which is I'm glad to be back at like what I feel is like my true passion, my true home. So
right. That's super cool. So you already said that reading's one of your passions, and we talked about ACOTAR being one of your favorite books. But tell us your because I don't think any reader can tell you what their number one favorite book is of all time. So can you give us like can you give us your top 3 to 5?
Yeah. Okay. So I would have to put like definitely like I don't want to put an order on them.
Oh, but absolutely like, not. We understand.
Okay.
ACOTAR, like kids. You can't pick a favorite.
Totally. I mean, ACOTAR is definitely because it got me back. Like I think because it just like it had a chokehold on me, and like I still cannot like I don't think I've ever really like accomplished what that book did for me, because I don't think I ever can, because like now that I'm in this world, it's harder for that feeling to happen again, if that makes sense.
Yep.
So definitely that. Throne of Glass, what a ride. I don't know if you guys have read that whole entire series, but man.
Yeah, it's actually right behind Mindy's head right there.
Yeah.
Bookshelf.
Yeah.
That's my Throne of Glass.
Yeah. As much as I want to say Crescent City, I'm going to give SJM a little break. I just finished Daughter of No Worlds.
Oh yeah, how was that?
It was phenomenal. Like,
is that Carissa
phenomenal?
Broadbent?
Yes. Okay. Yeah. And I'm reading her one that like I hate starting series that are like just starting, because like the waits are agonizing. But I just started her second one. I don't have many thoughts. I'm very early on in it, but I like it so far. The Serpent and the Wings of the Night, right? That one.
That right now too. That's
really?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, I'm right in the middle of it.
Oh, cool.
It reminds me of Throne of Glass, actually, a little bit.
Oh, cool. Oh, yeah. Okay, cool. I'm excited to read it. I've heard really good things about it. A non-fantasy book. Let me throw a non-fantasy book. I actually just read Daisy Jones and the Six.
Oh, yeah.
Like, because I saw they were making the Amazon show about it. I was like, oh, you know what? Because I'm a musician, like, I can't tell you how many people were like, you need to read this. And it really was so well done. And like the format of the book is so cool because it's like somebody interviewing the band like years after they have like gone through all this. And so you're always like, oh, what's happening? It's like
documentary style or whatever.
Yeah. But like in a cool way. Like I thought it would be boring, but it was really interesting. I know I'll think of like 4 more as soon as we like are done.
Just yell them out whenever you're like, oh yeah.
So as they're talking, oh yeah.
Right, we're still going to talk for a little bit. So whenever you come to it, you're like, why didn't I say that one out loud? Right. Yes. So I mean, is it safe to assume that any of the work that you put out that isn't from a client, that it's something that you've read or something that you've been super inspired by, or is it mostly someone's like, did someone say you should do Blood and Ash, or were you so involved with the books that you decided to do that?
I always knew I was going to do it. It helps when people like, I love when people request it because then I'm like, I can use the comments to just be like, here you go, you know, but like, I always intended to do it because that was one of my, you know, I know like people don't necessarily, they like the first book and then they say they kind of like fell off.
Oh, not us. We love it all.
I literally loved the whole thing. I thought it was great, but you know, so yeah, I've loved that series. I have to do the other one, the Flesh and Fire series. I don't know what it starts.
The Ember
and Light and the Flame.
Yeah, I've heard really good things about that too. I haven't gotten around to that one yet.
When you read those, The War of Two Queens, there's going to be some things where you're like, oh,
things make sense more.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
I'll have to go do a reread, right?
Well, and I don't think it's very well publicized that you're supposed to read Shadow and the Ember before War of Two Queens. Like,
I had no idea. Yeah,
and then you're supposed to read A Light and the Flame after War of Two Queens, but before the next book that comes out. So it's kind of the same thing like with Scarlet St. Clair. She has that Hades and Persephone series.
Yes.
You're supposed to read it in this order. And I did the same thing. I was like, I didn't even know those books existed until I started following her.
Wait, wait, hold on. Now
so there's there's 3 books from Hades' point of view. Did you know that?
What?
Yeah. Your heart right now. We'll just get on the phone like once a month, Taylor, and we'll talk about books and I'll be like, wait, there's
you guys need to update me.
yeah but and Whitney, like, you like them better than the originals, right? Although Scarlet St. Clair does not like it when people say that.
I know. Yeah, we went and heard her talk and she was like, I don't know why people say they like the Hades POV so much, and I was like, I like the Hades POV
like
more than.
Why would you not want people to like your work?
She said that she wrote them as like kind of a reading exercise, like love letter to the fans, and so she's put this blood, sweat, and tears into the main novels. And she's like, so you like the stuff I like just wrote real quickly for you better? Like
I'm telling you, it happens like that. I mean, some of my most popular work is not my favorite work. You know what I mean? But like, it's like the ACOTAR theme. Like, I now hear so many things I could change about it and like redo about it. That it's funny, but people still love it, you know. And
you can have a 2.0.
I think, I mean, spoilers, I'm creating an album. Cool. That's the goal for this year. So I would love to do like extended versions of ACOTAR, the Throne of Glass theme, because I wrote them in TikTok format, you know what I mean? Like pretty much a minute in length, so I could fit them in the videos. And, you know, with people's attention spans, it's not always the best with TikTok to like keep them there for a long period of time. So I like feel like there's a lot that could be expanded on them. So I'm excited to do that as well. Expand those a little bit, make them a little bit more interesting. So
cool.
That'll be awesome.
Yeah.
Add it to my playlist. my Whitney's playlist. Yeah.
I'm honored to be on it.
Besides books, what other fandoms or nerdy things would you say you're a part of? You mentioned Outlander. So are you an Outlander?
Yeah, I just started Outlander. So funny. I was just watching episode 3. I literally just started it.
The next episode, so good.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Episode
the
4
tension.
Yeah,
it's so good.
Episode 4 is
Okay.
gonna be like, okay, I'm not going to bed tonight because now I have to watch the rest of this entire season. And
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
No. Okay. Okay. Maybe I'll wait till tomorrow.
I don't want to embarrass you, Taylor, but just after you watch episode 4, make sure your husband's home.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna jump his bones, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah,
fair.
exactly.
Yeah. Great. Thanks for the warning though. I appreciate that. Because I would have just casually watched it, like, and we're already watching The Last of Us season finale tonight. So I think emotionally, that'll probably knock me out. You know what I don't know what's gonna happen. I didn't play the video game, so I have no clue. And every episode I go in blind and I always come out like so
are you a Pedro Pascal daddy fan?
I love him. Yes. Absolutely.
So
Whitney's your soul.
Yeah.
I don't get it. Get it. He's gross.
I totally I get why people don't get it. I get it. But there's something about him. I don't know. I don't but I guess nerdy things too. I play D&D. So that's kind of like newer for me too. I started probably a little year and a half ago. I started with a group of girlfriends. It's all girls group. It's super fun. So that's been interesting. And I think that also inspires I've written for that, like the campaigns that I'm into, which is always fun to do. I was just about to
ask that if you play music that you've composed in the background while you're doing a campaign.
We don't. No, I mean, we'll play certain things, but like I'll write things specifically for the campaigns, like and just kind of show it to them, be like, look, this is for this character, or like stuff like that.
That's really cool. Well, we like to do a nerdy and dirty speed round, so I'm gonna basically ask you a question and just want you to answer as quickly as you can without really like thinking about it. So gut response. Favorite cocktail?
Whiskey neat, really, just plain whiskey.
Ooh. Nice. Favorite fandom?
Avatar.
Most binge-worthy TV?
Lost.
Yes, that's a good one. A guilty pleasure?
Gossip Girl.
Book character that you'd get nerdy and dirty with?
Rhysand.
That's
correct.
Perfect.
It's a basic answer. I don't care.
There was nothing basic about Rhysand.
No, there's not.
Oh, that's so great.
That was awesome. Now we know.
I also
go ahead.
I hate the theory that he turned, like, he's the evil Rhysand theory.
I don't think that's true.
I'm like, I'm a Sarah J, I'm gonna be mad at you if you do that to me.
That's
that
like,
will be
how do you
rude.
piss off an entire fandom?
Yes.
Yeah. Now, Taylor, you
like,
finished Crescent City, right? Both
yeah.
books?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I don't want to spoil anything for you. I could foresee more like someone like Hunt being bad, or even Bryce being bad, but I don't understand the Rhysand theory at all.
Or even like, or I've heard the as like Prince of Hell
or Elaine.
theory
I think
too.
Elaine could be bad for sure.
I've heard and more too, with the because of like the connection with B. Morrigan and that kind of thing, which is very, very like, there's, I don't know, I've watched a lot of breakdown and theory videos because like Sarah has given us crumbs for the past however long. We finally at least have a release date, which is great. So
allegedly.
Hey, it's on American sites now too.
So many people are still like, until Sarah says it herself, I'll never believe it. Like,
that's very true. That's very true.
I'm like, it's posted enough places now.
Right.
I think
it's multiple sources. I'm like, I think that announcement is coming. It's got to be any.
But it's so weird that it hasn't been announced yet. Like Whitney and I were talking about that. I was like, at what point did her PR people not go, well, shit, I guess we're jumping on this. Like it leaked,
Yeah.
It's just been radio silence. It's so weird.
Yeah. I don't know. It's she barely posts anything, and every time I have notifications set for her because
I do too.
I'm like, I'm gonna miss it when it happens because
I'm like,
you're not gonna come up on my feed.
Like, what do you eat for breakfast? Like, do you just, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't even have to be important. Just like send us like a picture of your wall. We don't care.
I know.
Something.
Totally.
Are you okay? Are you hanging in there?
Yeah, because she just had a daughter like recently, right, or something. Like, so like, are you alive? Are you doing well, Mama? Like, yeah. Gosh.
So we know you have an album coming up, and if you want to talk a little bit more about that as well, I was just wondering what other projects you might have coming up, and then also in what ways we can support your work.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the album, I don't have like any kind of like idea of when that's going to be. It's ideally going to happen before like the fall. Like that would be my goal, is like fall time. But yeah, I'm working with a lot of clients, and like especially like authors, other podcasts. I just got reached out today about like working with lyrics from a book to put into an audio, like make the song like actually from the book to put into an audiobook, which I thought would be a really cool idea, because a lot of times books have these lyrics for these songs, but like you kind of have to just like picture what it would be like in your head. Yeah. So that'll be a cool project, I think. So I'm kind of working on the album when I can in between all of these projects. So I've had a lot less time than I used to, but in like a good way, because I love working on these projects for other people's projects, so it's always super fun. And then if you want to support my music, I mean, the best way is just to like keep streaming it and listening, because all of that kind of stuff helps greatly. And you guys can keep following my journey on TikTok and Instagram. It's just Taylor Ash Music. So I'll be there hopefully more often now. So
so the three of us stream off Spotify for you, but where else can we stream? If someone else isn't a Spotify user, where can they find your music?
Pretty much, it should be on everything essentially. Okay. So yeah, like Amazon, Apple Music, all of that stuff. So I'm primarily a Spotify user myself. So I always forgot to mention that.
Well, and I know that you're on TikTok and Instagram. What other social media are you on that people can find you?
Not many. I do have like a few at this point. I do have like a kind of dead Facebook page. It's still Taylor Ash Music, but you're not going to find me too often over there. But I have a website. FromAshStudios.com. And if you want to contact me about a project, that's where you would do so. So that's an important one. There you go.
That is important one. Well, and we can say from our own experience that you are absolutely fabulous to work with. Yes. I think we joked about this on the last episode, but what were the prompts that we gave her? Because they're funny.
Oh, I could tell you.
It's funny. Ethereal, office.
The Office.
Rock piano, drums, upbeat. Like The Office, and The Office kind of threw me. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, okay.
I think it threw us too.
But I was like, I like the way this sounds, and it is upbeat enough, and we do like kind of like piano rock. And I was like, just tell her The Office.
So funny.
You understood the assignment. Don't worry about it.
Yay. We got there. That's all that matters, right?
And honestly, I hope you felt like we got there pretty quickly. I mean, I hope we didn't give you.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Like I love podcast themes because they always are like so quick for me for some reason. I think that's because my friends at the podcast Willing and Fable, they were the first ones who I really started, like they were like my first clients pretty much. And they're two of my good friends who I like play D&D with, but they like brought me on for their theme is something I did too. And so I think podcast themes are close to my heart because it kind of has got this ball rolling a little bit too. So yay, podcast themes.
We do love podcasting, obviously.
Yes.
So we do something every week on our episodes where we talk about our nerdiest thing of the week. And so we would love if you could share what your nerdiest thing of this week is for you, or even the last month, because we don't know if it's not this week or not.
Nerdiest thing. I think it's probably that like so my bedtime ritual is that like my main reading time is when I go to bed. Like I spend usually like 2 hours reading, and most of the time like it's usually the book that's keeping me awake, like 9 times out of 10.
Understand that.
But like this past week, I just like literally have not been able to read for longer than like I've entered my grandma status where I've been like 15 minutes, and I'm like the book has literally fallen on my face, and it actually one night, my cat likes to sleep like right under my arm, and I fell asleep, dropped the book on her, and she launched herself and cleared my nightstand. Like everything on my nightstand cleared off. Like, and it was pretty crazy.
Oh, that's
so I think the hitting, I'm 30, so I hit 30, and now I'm like, I can't hang anymore. So that's probably my nervous. And I fall asleep reading, and I'm like, oh man, this is pretty nerdy, I think. In the best way, though.
I did promise I'd tell you. So we do our Nerdiest cocktail every week.
Yes.
So this is vodka. We work with a company called Make and Muddle. They provide all of our mixers, and they have this lavender honey elixir. I'll send you the link for it. It's delicious. And then it also has lemon, and you can put Prosecco or club soda on top. And it tastes like summer in a glass.
Fruit juice.
Oh, grapefruit juice. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I was like, here's all alcohol.
Here's all the alcohol we have.
Yeah, and it makes us funnier whenever we go to broadcast. So, it's social lubricant.
Just a little lubricant. Yeah, exactly. We need it sometimes. So that's awesome. That sounds delicious. I wish you could just like send me one through the screen right now. But
well, maybe one will just show up in your mailbox one day. Who knows?
I would cry.
Anything else, Whit?
I think that's it. Is there anything else that you wanted to make sure to talk about or plug that we haven't already?
If you guys are reading Blood and Ash, and you're doing Blood and Ash right now. So if you want to listen to a From Blood and Ash specific theme song, that is out. It came out this Friday. So it's live on all streaming platforms, and you can listen to the podcast and then just go right over and give that a listen.
There you go.
So
yeah.
There you go. There's my shameless plug.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. It's a pleasure
to meet you. Having me. Yes, you guys too. Thank you.
I feel like we could all hang out with you together or separately, and like you and Mindy could talk about crafting stuff. And like you
for sure.
You and I can talk about music stuff. And you guys can talk about
Dungeons and Dragons.
No, I was gonna say health journey stuff.
Oh, health journey. I thought you were gonna say you guys could cuss together. Talk about social lubricant.
I know. Mixology and stuff.
Right. Nothing really exemplifies a sentence better than the F word. So.
Oh, 100%. And honestly, I'm being very like my husband is a literal sailor, and he says that I am the one with the sailor mouth. So
that's hilarious. My husband
I'm being very tame.
Same.
He doesn't cuss at all.
Darren does not. I mean, he does occasionally, but it's
he's
but not like you.
Not like me. He's got to be really mad to say anything. Like I just use it on a daily basis.
Oh, and I have to I'm good at reining it in because I work with kids, but like if I'm not around kids, goodbye.
Exactly. Yeah. You're holding it in all day, so it just kind of explodes out.
You're like,
right.
I've definitely let shit drop out of my mouth at school before. I work at a school also.
Oh,
not
there you
kids,
go.
but like I'll say it and I'll be like,
sometimes you can't help it. I mean, I've done it. We've all slipped up. It is what it is. You just have to be like, don't ever say that again to your kids. You can hear that. You can hear it.
Repeat after Miss Mindy.
Yeah.
As I say, not as I do. Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, thank you so much, Taylor. This has been so much fun. And
thank you for hanging and bringing me on. I appreciate it.
Hopefully we'll get to have you on again soon.
And if you're ever in the
I would love to
come hang with us.
Yeah, where are you guys again? I forget.
We're in Kentucky, Louisville, Kentucky.
You can come for Derby.
Yeah.
Oh, fun. That'd be awesome, actually.
Actually, it's like one of the least fun times to be here. Like come.
Oh, because it's like touristy and stuff.
Yeah, it is. And like so come in like October and we'll like take you down to see some beautiful scenery on the Bourbon Trail instead, since you like whiskey.
Absolutely. That'd be awesome.
Okay. Yay. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you, Taylor.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.